Welcome to the SEO.co Search Engine Optimization Podcast. Digital marketing essentials and next level tactics. From offsite and on-site optimization to persuasive selling and everything in between. You'll learn actionable tips on what it takes to outright and outrank your competition. Now, here's your host, Timothy Carter.
Thanks for joining me on the podcast. Today we're going to talk about using interviews in your content marketing and link building campaigns. You know, interviews seem like the type of content reserved for journalists, reporters, or similar professionals. After all, when we hear the word interview, we either think of a private job interview in close quarters or an interview published on the news channel. But interviews are far more diverse and far more practical than most people give them credit for, especially in the context of a content writing campaign. When used correctly, industry related interviews can be a major boon to your content marketing campaign, both in the way of improving your search engine ranks and increasing your perceived authority. Interviews aren't always easy, but they tend to develop a ton of content on their own. For every question you ask, your interviewee will provide a paragraph or more of original material that you can use as content on your blog. In total, every sentence you write will return at least another 3 or 4 sentences of material. Making it incredibly efficient, making it an incredibly efficient means of content generation. Adding to that level of efficiency, you can reuse some of your questions for every interview, minimizing the effort you spend for the maximum return. Interviews are also a prime opportunity to reach out to influencers in your industry. It's a free opportunity for some additional publicity. So most influencers are happy to get involved, even if you're operating at a lower level of influence than they're used to. When people see your company associated with these major influencers, they'll view you as having a slightly higher authority. If you've seen, if you're seen interviewing dozens of different major influencers, you'll become a major influencer in your own right. Another little bonus here of interviews is free syndication. If you're interviewed by a company or a publisher, you'd want to syndicate that opportunity immediately. So once your interview goes live or gets published, your interviewee will naturally want to syndicate that material to his or her own followers, giving you both mutual publicity as you push it to your respective audiences. You'll also get additional exposure to a new audience segment, which is a prime opportunity to grow your own social following. So there's a lot of benefits to that. Audio video options. Of course, your interviews don't have to and shouldn't be exclusively in written format. While a written interview holds plenty of benefits for an SEO and content marketing strategy, video formats tend to attract more clicks, and audio formats like podcasts, can easily grow a strong recurring following. So experiment with different interviewing mediums, and remember, you can always add a written transcript in addition to your audio or video post in order to capture the additional SEO benefits of having written content. Obviously, another bonus is free backlinks. Interviews tend to generate original pieces of info and quotable tidbits that end up appearing on other sources. Anytime another blogger wants to quote you or your interviewee, they'll link to your original interview and use the quote from where it originated from. So as a result, one successful interview can yield dozens of new backlinks and tons of new domain authority and personal authority. So another benefit of using interviews is the ongoing series option. Once you start interviewing, you can develop an ongoing series, possibly connected under a recurring theme. If you do this, it'll be much easier to retain and grow a sub following that's committed to tuning into your ongoing interviews. And these recurring audience members will grow to become loyal to your brand, and your company is going to reap the results. Another That's another one would be, improving your own expertise. Interviews aren't just about bolstering the authority of your company or getting more organic or social traffic. Engaging with major thought leaders and influencers in your industry is a key opportunity to expand your own horizons and develop your own skills. By asking, insightful questions and getting to know these people as individuals in the context of the interview, you'll become a better rounded professional, and you'll be able to advance yourself as a thought leader. So, how do you become a successful interviewer? If you've never conducted an interview before and you're feeling nervous, don't worry. Interviews are simple, and you don't need to be an expert in order to conduct one successfully. Your first step, though, is to find great potential interviewees. Start looking for major influencers in your industry or community and reach out to them using personal connections or social media interactions. In most cases, social influencers are more than happy to be interviewed. It's a flattering request more often than not. Next, spend some serious time writing up critical and thought-provoking questions. Research what others have done in interviews before you and make it a point to ask unique and practical questions. Be sure to include at least a few questions specific to your interviewee. And then before you conduct the actual interview, do a mock interview with a coworker or friend to practice your familiarity with the questions, your poise, and your pacing. And if you're just getting started with interviews, it's a good idea to only post a written transcript once the interview is over. After you've had some practice, you can move on to audio or video interviews and eventually move to live streams. And then once that's done, circulate your material. Work to actively circulate your interview once it's complete. Make yourself known as the interviewing authority. Your interviewees will offer significant help in this effort as well, but you must take it upon yourself to get the greatest visibility for your work. So, start integrating interviews into your regular content schedule immediately. Even offering one new interview a month will go a long ways in boosting your other content and making your brand a greater authority in your industry. If your industry doesn't have that many companies implementing such interviews, your opportunity is even greater. Get an edge over the competition by offering a type of content that they've simply left on the table. And that's it for today's episode. If you need some information and help on content marketing and or link building for SEO, come on over to SEO.co and schedule a time to have a free consultation. Learn how we can help you scale your ability to outwrite and outrank your competition.
Thank you for joining us on the SEO.co podcast. We appreciate your time. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit SEO.co for more resources based on today's topic, as well as access to more podcast episodes to help you improve your site's long-term SEO success.